well. So again, that's fine. It's not the issue. You guys have got to work out what work best for you, right?
All right. Hi, Anthony.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, Anthony. Hi, Anthony. How are you?
I'm okay. How you guys doing?
Yeah, good. Thank you.
All right. Kalish, I'm going to mute everybody, and I'm going to leave the floor for you. Okay?
Sure. Yeah. Just to let you know, this is my first ever webinar, right? So I apologize if I say or if I swear sometimes, but I'm British, so please forgive me on that. But we're gonna have some fun. So let's go for it.
Go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, thank you very much for attending this webinar. Even though I know it's a Friday night in the United States, I was thinking, who goes to a webinar on a Friday night? And I was like, there are lots of people to actually do webinars on a Friday night. It's not just you that just goes out all the time, right? So thank you very much for joining us. And I really hope you're going to get something from this. I don't have any notes, any slides or anything, because I like talking to you guys like face to face. I'd like to have your attention. So I'm kind of the Gary Vaynerchuk school of entrepreneurship. Like I've been working, shall I say, I don't like to use the word hustle, but I've been working since the age of 15, 16, obviously coming from an immigrant background. My parents were business owners for 37 years, had their own business and worked 7 days a week and had 2 holidays in that 37-year period, right? So it's always been about the work ethic to me. And to cut a long story short, I wanted to share this story with you as well, so you have more of a connection with me, and just so you know why I do Instagram. Don't take this in a shocking way. It's something kind of deep and personal that happened to me a long time ago, but I like to share the story so you know how I've arrived at this point. And so when I was 7, I used to have a little sister, and we were playing outside, and she basically got hit by a car, and obviously that was a very tragic moment in my life, and things kind of changed after that, right? So I have a very different perspective compared to a lot of people in life, and I'm sure like many of us do, we all go through death and stuff. But because of that, my life has been very different. I've been through a lot of stuff, and the reason that I've chosen Instagram as my platform is because I like to create and share memories, hence why I'm living in Thailand at the moment. I'm originally from London, UK, as you can probably tell from my accent, right? So that's why I'm here. That's why I choose Instagram, because to me, it's the most amazing platform. You can share, you can create pictures, you can create memories. And as my dad would say, it's the modern version of a Polaroid camera. So I'm sure many of you can relate to that, right? And the first question I wanted to ask you guys is that Instagram is amazing, and I'm going to tell you it's amazing, right? But the key is it necessarily a fit for you? I wanted to throw that question out. We're going to obviously do a Q&A at the end of this call. It's going to be short and sweet, but I wanted to definitely put out there that the question you really want to ask, first of all, is Instagram the platform for you, and does it fit your personality and what you're interested in? Because we all want to generate leads and sales, but you've all got to kind of pick a platform that's relevant to you, right? Because if you like it, you're going to stick with it, you're going to be consistent with it, and you're probably going to invest the time into it. So that was my first number question. And then secondly, give me a second, guys, sorry. We're going to talk about, here we go, sorry. Right, so obviously many of you say that you've not used Instagram yet. So my first key point would probably be, you probably might want to write this down as well, is literally just download the app and start playing around with it. That is probably the best advice I can actually give them. That's probably the thing I did. I've had the app since 2012 actually, and before I started using it for business, which is only fairly recent, about 4 or 5 months ago, I actually just use it as my platform for taking pictures, or for when I traveled, or when I was spending time with friends and family. So that's what I used to do, just take pictures of things out and about. And that's the number one thing I suggest you do if you've never used it before. There are user guides available on YouTube. So if you're stuck or you don't know how to do something, the best thing to do is probably just go onto YouTube and just type how to do, or a beginner's guide to Instagram on YouTube, and then just follow the steps through. But as always with anything, I've always found that the key is just to actually just use it and practice with it and learn by making mistakes. And I struggle with that with all this new technology, guys, and I'm sure you probably do as well. So it's a process. It takes time, but I guarantee you that if you're willing to take the action and invest your time into it, you're going to absolutely love it. So that's point number one. The second point is, what is your actual goal for using Instagram? Is it just to generate leads? Is it just to generate sales? And what kind of time span are you looking for? Because that's really important. Because if you're going to invest into this app, then you realize that it's going to be a bit of a process. For most of us, I've been doing it 4 to 6 months in terms of a business, right? But I'm just gone through a ridiculously steep learning curve where I've literally been on it or using it like between 12 to 15 hours a day. And that's just not healthy at all. And I completely understand that now. Since being here in Thailand, I've taken a bit of a more of a backstep approach, but work out if what your goal is and then work backwards. Again, I assume many of you probably use Facebook, and that may be your preferred platform, or you may not be getting the results you desire, but pick which social media platform suits your personality and then move from that point forward. The next point we're going to go through is I'm going to tell you a list of things not to do on Instagram. And I think this is really important, first of all, when you're starting out. What I'll probably do is we're going to go through the items right now, and then at the end of this call, I'll send you a sheet out. I've got a sheet prepared, and then if you send me your emails, I can get that sent out to you, just so you've got some basic guidelines to go through. Have you guys got any questions so far? And is there anything, am I speaking too fast? I feel I'm speaking too fast. No? You're good?
No, you're good.
Cool. Okay, no worries. Thank you very much for the feedback. Right, so these are the number one things I see on Instagram that people do. And as I say, for the past 4 to 5 months, I've probably studied a few thousand accounts. And I mean, when I say study, I mean, I literally go through each account, create a spreadsheet, look for patterns, like everything. And these are the kind of things I've picked out, right? So the key on Instagram is not to think short term. It's a long-term game. And so what that means is that it takes investment in time to develop a page that you're happy with, that your followers are going to be happy with, because you have to remember, everyone's attention span is very short these days, right? As we all know, and you have 3 seconds to actually grab people's attention and make them stay on your page. And if they like your content, obviously the content has to be good, but if they like your page, they're going to click on follow. Obviously, we have the rule that sometimes someone has to see your content 6 to 7 times before they're going to have an engagement with you, right? But if your content is good, you're going to grab their attention and you're going to likely to keep them on your page. So the key is not to think short term. Another thing that I see is that people really want instant results, because that's just the way it is, right? People want instant results and they want to take shortcuts. I was going to say the word cheat, but let's not use that word cheat. So they go on to websites like Fiverr.com, other websites, and they buy followers. And you can buy followers if you want. If that's the route you truly wish to go down, then, you know, I'm not going to stop you. There is that route to do that. But all you're going to be doing is sabotaging your results in the future, because you're not going to get any engagement. You may have a high number and you may be perceived as an authority on Instagram, but behind the numbers, as an accountant would say, it's not about the numbers, it's what's behind the numbers that counts, right? So don't ever buy followers. I know everyone wants to get to 1,000 followers. And speaking of followers, I'm going to be completely honest and upfront with you. I've only got 2 accounts and I've got both of them up to 1,000. And that's taken me, the first one's taken me obviously about 5-6 years, because that was my personal account. But my most recent account, I've done that in 2 months. And that's completely organic. And that's by posting 6 to 8 times a day. It can be done a lot quicker. I've just got a particular style, and because I'm building a brand, it's just taking me a bit longer, but it doesn't need to take you that long. There are other ways out there to get followers, but all I say is just do it the ethical way, because in the long term, it's going to be more beneficial to you, and you're going to get better results, and you're probably going to get more chance of getting better sales and stuff, right? So that's point number 2. Another thing that I see frequently is that people copy each other's accounts. And when I say that is Obviously, in our niche of the online business opportunity world, or MLM, network marketing, etc., motivational quotes are very popular, and motivational quotes are great. I use them. I love them. There's nothing wrong with it. But what I see a lot of the time is that people copy each other, and they'll use a luxury item and they'll post a positive message rather than creating their own, which will take 2 seconds, right? And then they'll upload it to their own Instagram page. So don't do that, because again, you want to try and stand out in such a crowded marketplace, even though it's not very crowded, but compared to the amount of global users, it is crowded, but it's not difficult to stand out on Instagram if you're willing just to put a bit of work in. Like people can come across your page and go, oh, this account's different, I might want to follow it, right? So being different is key. So that's important. Thirdly is automatic engagement. And I see this quite a lot with the new accounts, is that, and Gary Vaynerchuk talks about this, is that people don't want to do the work. And that is when people send you comments, people give you, not necessarily likes, but when people leave a comment on a post or something, or they send you a direct message, sometimes they're automated, and that's just a bit of a no-no, because when you have genuine engagement, I know a lot of the time on Instagram that the engagement is false, and there's not a lot that we can do about that, guys. But when you do get genuine engagement, I would like, I've always seen it as best policy to write back personally. It doesn't have to be an essay, just a quick, short reply, sweet message, and that includes direct messages as well. We do live in a time where everyone wants certain things automated, and I completely get that. I get that completely. But certain things can't be automated, and engagement is one of those things. The next point is pitching your opportunity or your product straight away, or advertising it completely on your page, saying, they'll have, for example, I'm using a network marketing company, which I used to be a part of. People hold their shake in their hand, and then there'll be a caption saying, go to the link in the bio to buy this, right? Now that's great if no one else did it, but everyone does that. So you're not going to stand out, and you're probably going to turn off a lot of people. So don't do that. And the way to overcome that is to do product placement. Say, for example, you're having breakfast. Say, for example, you're promoting a health and fitness company or whatever, a nutritional product. You're having breakfast, and you decide to take a picture of you and your family having breakfast, and there could be the product at the front of the picture, or somewhere, where it's quite visual, but it's just not obvious, right? And do take pictures like that. Talk about, do product placement pictures rather than talking about things directly, or talk about the benefits and the good things about that product without necessarily pitching that product. Once you get to develop that relationship with your audience, and you build rapport and build trust, then they'll naturally at some point want to buy from you. Don't necessarily always lead with the pitch or the opportunity. Next point. I see this sometimes. I don't see it a lot of the time, and that's people being unethical. Your reputation, as you guys probably know, is everything, right? And especially in the online marketing world, ethics is just key. Ethics and integrity is key in anything we do in the online world, because I remember I watched this Gary Vaynerchuk video, and he said, in 20, 30 years time, there's going to be enough data where our grandchildren will be able to look back, and they'll be able to pull up data and say, Dad, why did you write this to this? I'm using this as an example. I'm not saying it as a genuine. Why did you write this to this lady? And it could be something really rude or really horrible, right? So just remember, guys, that at some point in the future, all our data, there's no such thing as privacy these days, right? So just be careful of what you write, and always just come from a good point of view. And I know none of you are going to do that, but I just wanted to make that point. Another good thing about Instagram is that you don't always have to create your own content. You can use other people's content, and there are some amazing apps out there. If you've got iPhone, I've got an iPhone, so I can only talk from iPhone, but if you've got an Android phone, I can find out for you. I'm sure the app is exactly the same, but there's an app called Repost. And basically what that means is that allows you to repost other people's content if you think it's good, and share it. So when you do that, always credit that person with that photo. And if there is no name, or you don't know where that photo comes from, write this photo is credited the relevant original user, original creator. So that's always good. And the Instagram system so the system behind Instagram checks for that kind of data. So when you do that kind of stuff, it knows that you're a genuine account, you're not a spam account. Another thing that I see with Instagram is that people always use the most common hashtags. And the problem with this is that because so many people use these hashtags and so many people are posting on these hashtags at the same time, that your post is not going to stay at the top of the feed. Your post is going to drop completely to the bottom of the feed, and you're not going to get any exposure like you normally would. So doing hashtag research, that is a job in itself. Just to be brutally honest with you guys, I've been doing hashtag research on my account, which I'll tell you the details about later, which you can check out, Remote Hustler. And I'm about 6 days into it, and that's 6 days of intensive hashtag research. It's taken me a long time. Do I enjoy it? No. Is it boring? Yes. Is it mind-numbingly painful? Yes, it is. But from the results I've seen from it so far, it's been worth it, and I'm not even halfway through. I'm not saying that yours is going to be that long. It probably won't be. I've got 3 niches within one niche, so I've got to cover those 3 niches when I do the hashtag research. So, yeah, it's long. It's a painful process, but it's going to be worth it. And again, don't use the common hashtags because you're not going to get the engagement that you want and that you need, and you're probably going to get really frustrated with Instagram, and it won't work for you probably. The next common thing I see is that people use low quality pictures. This would seem quite obvious as well, right? Because obviously being a picture platform or a visual platform, that you think most people use really good quality pictures, but a lot of the time they don't. A lot of the time people just don't know, and that's just a common reason, right? So when you're going to post something, always make sure that the quality of the picture is good, or the post quality is very good. Like I'm sure many of you know, when you're taking a picture outside, especially, always make sure that the sun is in front of you and not behind you. So the sun is, so you get the full lighting effect on your face, etc. And again, if you want to create good quality posts, then I'm sure you've all heard of it. Canva is the #1 app or online free app that you can all use. Canva.com, Canva.com, to create Instagram posts. It's an amazing tool, very simple to use, and I'm sure Jamie uses it, right? Yeah, she does. Yeah, she does. So yeah, if you guys stuck on how to use Canva, then probably speak to Jamie. She'll probably advise you how to do it, but it's really, really simple. It's an amazing free tool as well.
Normally PicMonkey too.
PicMonkey. Yeah, PicMonkey as well. Yeah,
those are great.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, PicMonkey and Canva. And another thing that I see people don't do is they don't give enough value. And the example again is they'll post a quote, but it'll just be, that's it. And there'll be a set of hashtags. Now that's all great and that's fine. Sometimes you may want to do that. Like you have those days where you just want to get a piece of content on there. Perfectly fine to do that. But work out a strategy where you can usually talk about, when you write a quote or when you post a quote, I'm using quote as an example, talk about something from your life experience so people can relate to it. The more personal you can make it, and I'm not saying write an essay, just write 2 or 3 lines, just say, from my experience, or this happened to me, explanation, and give you like a personal side of your story, because that will really help you connect with your audience and get better engagement. Another way to do that, I'm sure many of your readers will probably listen to like MP3 or podcasts, right? When you hear something that resonates with you, write it down and create a post out of that, and then talk about your story and how it relates to you. So that's a really effective way to create free content without having to think about it. Obviously, a lot of people struggle with creating content, and the easiest way I say this is you can overcome this is, again, just you talk about a book you've read, talk about an article that you've read recently, or anything really, really simple. Don't overthink it. Just grab a book that you've got in your house and flick through from some pages, read a page or 2 pages, and then talk about it in a post. It's literally that simple, and give it your own personal slant, right? You can create content that quickly. And the last couple of points are, don't look for shortcuts, because it will only lead to frustration. I've learned that. I've not done many shortcuts, in all honesty, and when I have done, I've learned the hard way. Like, you just come back to zero, right? It just gets really frustrating, and always play the long game. And the final point is, I know a lot of people do this. I know certain leaders in certain programs do this and suggest this, and that is the use of bots to follow. They use automated pieces of software, so you don't have to do the work basically. So you go and click on other people's accounts, you like other people's pictures, leave comments as we were talking about before, and then in the hope that that person looks at your profile and they follow you back, right? I completely get why people do that, but Instagram are really cutting down, and again, I'm looking at this from a future point of view, that Instagram are really cutting down on all these fake accounts, because out of the 500,000 users on Instagram, or sorry, 600,000 users on Instagram, I would say probably 80% are fake accounts. There's so many fake accounts out there, and they are producing pieces of software. I've got friends who work for Facebook and Instagram, and they're working on it on a daily basis to come out with software and updates that literally will shut down these third-party apps, because it's ruining it for a lot of people. So there's going to be a cleanup process. At some point, it may work for the next 6 months. Who knows how long it's going to work for? And if you choose to use bots, that's fine. There's not a problem with it, right? But just be aware that your account may get banned, it may get stopped. And is it really going to be worth it for the long-term investment? So yeah, that's it. So did you guys find that useful for the first part? And do you have any questions? If you have any questions, fire away. Go for it.
Yes, I have a question. I have a lot of that I'm following, and
Unfollowing, yeah.
I have to unfollow like one by one. I know like probably there's an application that you can just download it or something, right?
Yeah.
You can unfollow people, but I don't know if they unfollow just anybody, because obviously I want some people that I want to stay with. But
of course.
How you can do that without getting people out that you don't want to?
You can. The easiest way. There are third-party apps, and again, I don't recommend them, because I don't want you coming back to me and saying my account got banned because I used an app that I shouldn't have been using. Right. The easiest way to do that is to go onto your Instagram account online on a computer, and then log into your account and then unfollow like that. It's very quick. You don't have, because when you use it on your phone, right, you have to. It says confirm, doesn't it? So it takes ages to do that. But when you do it on your laptop or your MacBook, it just unfollows that person straight away. It doesn't ask you for a confirmation. So again, there's a limit, and I think if you're a new account, it's only 30 unfollows per hour. Pretty sure. Yeah, you're only allowed to unfollow 30 people per hour when you're a new account, and when you've a matured account after about 2 to 3 weeks, I think it's 60. But just double check on those. You don't want to go over the amount, because I think it's limited to 300 actions a day. So that can be a follow, an unfollow, any of that kind of stuff. So you don't want your account banned or anything by Instagram. So just be careful of how many you're going to follow. The key is just to do 10, 20 a day over a month, right?
Leonor said, how do you go about the hashtag research with sites or samples? Or I can start the Instagram account on my computer. I thought it was a phone thing only. No, I imagine you know that like the Instagram is on the phone, but you have it on the computer. But in the computer, you cannot download your photos.
That's correct. Yeah, you can look at people's profiles. You can look at your profile, but you can't upload anything. It's a phone interface.
But she said, how do you go about the hashtag research? Which sites or samples?
Awesome question. I like it. Okay, so I'll show you. I won't be able to show you because you can't see my screen. But so once you go into Instagram,
you can share your screen if you want.
I can do. Yes, that's a good. Let me. I can't reflect my my Instagram screen on your screen. Hold on a second. I will go through it. So, best I think I can do is I'll describe it using the English language. So, go into your Instagram, not as normally, and then on the bottom you have a series of options, right? So you've obviously got the home button on the left-hand side, right? And then you've got the magnifying glass. If you click on the magnifying glass and then click on the search button at the top, then the first thing you want to do is just type in any hashtag that's related to your niche. and then obviously click on tags, and it will give you a list of all the other related hashtags in that niche. Does that make sense?
Leonor, Lenka went through that. Remember?
It might happen. I finally opened it. I am on the top where he said to be on the search.
What's the search?
Yeah.
The circle, the magnifying glass.
The magnifying glass, exactly.
And I type network.
Okay, yep. So you type network.
What? I do search.
So yeah, click on where it says search hashtags, type in network, and then click on tags. Do you see tags?
I see it.
So that will give you a list of all the related hashtags, right?
Okay.
Some will be related, some won't be related. The key is to go into that hashtag. So when you go into that hashtag, I'll give you an example. So you said network, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll do networks just as a prime example. Next time we do a call or something, we'll go through this in more detail. So network. So and network, you can see right now there's 1,677,000 posts, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the key thing to look for is when you go into, so we've gone into that hashtag, so you can see related hashtags at the top there. Do you see that? It says networking, it says business, it says network marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So they're all the related hashtags, right? And then if you look, the first 9 posts that you see, these are the top posts in that hashtag under network, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then as you can see, there's a number. So the key is you want to be in those top 9 posts to get the most.
To be?
You want your post to be in the top 9 posts to get the most exposure.
But didn't you say if I put the common ones, my post is just going to die down? If I use the common ones.
Exactly. So what you want to do is you want to go through, first of all, you want to go through all your individual hashtags like we've just done, right? Mm-hmm. And then what I want you to do is in these top 9 posts, these first 9 posts that you can see, ignore the ones below. I want you to go into each one.
Gotcha.
And write down
mm-hmm.
how many likes and how many comments each post has got.
Mm-hmm.
So the best way to do that is open up a spreadsheet or Google Sheets if you use that.
Mm-hmm.
Write down the hashtag name,
mm-hmm.
The number of posts it's got per hashtag, so that's 1,677,000, and then the number of likes and comments per post in the top 9, and that will give you a number. And what you want to do is work out the average of the number of likes and the number of comments
mm-hmm.
per the top 9 posts. So then you know roughly how many likes and comments you've got to get into that top 9. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Somebody else have another question?
Sure.
Are you a proponent of the follow unfollow rule?
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not, because, and there's nothing wrong with it. The people are. There's obviously like anything in life, there's 2 sides to the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you get into that habit, from my perspective, when you get into that habit, it just kind of, I'm all about real engagement and building authenticity, right? So, and again, the longer term, if people don't like your stuff, and if people are going to do it to you, that's fine. I'm not going to be offended, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no point about it. What you can do is just produce great quality content. And then once you start doing that, then I always feel naturally you are going to attract your audience and your crowd. Right. If you're going to do the follow and follow, then you're probably going to attract a crowd that you don't necessarily want to work with, and that probably not going to engage with you. That probably not going to work with you or invest in your product or service, right?
I agree.
And so, yeah, again, it can be done, and there's nothing wrong with doing it when you're first starting out. Like, I don't disagree with it. If you want to build up momentum, I have done it on a previous account before, but I just didn't like the results, like you just said, and it annoyed me when I just see my follow numbers just come down. Right? It really annoyed me, and I was just like, look, the only way to stop this is just to turn the bot off and just don't do it. Just don't do it.
I have a question. How do you get inside this engagement group so you can get more followers or shout outs? This shout out thing, I don't understand how it works.
So you usually need to be invited to these engagement groups, but again, I can put you send me at the end of this call. We'll send me your guys' details, and I'll get you in engagement groups. There's just a couple of things to remember in engagement groups. So it relies on everyone to work as a team. And apologies if you guys don't know what engagement groups are. That if you're going to join a group, then you've got to be consistent every day. You can't just go. Obviously, we're going to have days where we're busy and life happens.
You have to like comment and stuff from other people inside the groups, right?
Exactly, and each group has its own different set of rules. So some groups may be like you leave a comment and a like. Some will just be likes, right?
How about the shout-outs? Tanish?
The shout-outs again. Before we get too carried away, so let's get back on structure. I'm going to cover shout-outs definitely.
Okay,
but we'll literally. Sorry.
We should go to another Zoom because we have the 4 minutes till this Zoom gets banned.
Okay, cool. Okay, so before we talk about shout-outs, this is the first thing. So we always talk about hashtag research. That was part number 2, actually. The most important thing, part number 1, is doing your competitor and influencer research. And what that basically means is that you want to research everyone in your niche that's a competitor, or when I say everyone, I don't mean everyone, between 50 and 100, so 75, not 50 or 51, 75 accounts. And what I want you to do is, they're in your niche, so you're going to go and find these people that you're going to be competing with, that you want to copy, or model, should I say, not copy, you want to model. So a competitor is anyone with an account size from 10,000 to 50,000 followers. Whether they're fake followers or not doesn't matter. There's nothing you can do about that. But in your niche, there's going to be accounts of that size is that you aspire to, you want to be to that level, right? Over the next 6 to 12 months. And that's more than possible. And then in an influencer account is obviously anything 100,000 plus, up to 1 million, a couple of million, whatever. So they're the people that you eventually want to be in the same field of, right? And the key thing is here is like this way I explain it is that when my parents started their business, they did market research. They went and checked out the location of where they were going to have their business, what products they were going to sell, whether there was a need for that product in that shop, etc., etc. So when starting any kind of business, you want to do the market research, right? Because there's no point in just going out on Instagram, just posting stuff and hoping it's going to stick or it's going to sell, or right? You want to know what you're competing with, who you're competing with, and how you can fit into that niche in your own kind of style and set your shop up in a different way so you attract a different kind of audience, right?
Cool.
So when you do that, again, I'll send you a template to make it easier for you guys. And I'll say, guys, it's 75 counts. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot when you're filling in.
When you're filling
when you're filling in the criteria. Like it didn't take me as long as a hashtag research. It probably took me about 4 days of 4 8-hour days.
So I have an idea. I will put everybody in this chat in a group, just in case you have some questions that you can answer. And
sure.
So I know there will come questions after and all that.
Do you have another Zoom account, or?
I can create another one when this one finish.
Do you want to do that
right now? And do another one.
Yeah, finish this one and then we'll start another one. We'll do that and then we'll do that now. Okay.